family. Thank you for helping spread independent local music. Support community radio. And this is 90.1 KPFT Houston.
Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana, and to every nook and cranny receiving the signals from our 100,000 watt transmitter into those magical boxes known as radios, aka the Howard Reynolds machines. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great program for you today. But beforehand, I better also welcome our international listeners who watch us via the magic of the internet, formerly known as the ARPANET, created by whom? You, with your tax dollars and your intellect, and currently controlled by the oligarchs, the billionaires, who have taken what we've created and decided to monetize it and have us pay for it once more, once again. Anyway, folks, let's get to the studio. My brothers, Howard Reynolds and Jacques Van Bebach.
Well, Thursday morning at the radio, Egberto, and it happens to be Halloween day, too, so we're going to have a very spooky day and some wet weather, too. I was listening to Arnie Arneson this morning at the very top of her show from, say, maybe 5:05 to about 5:10. She was reading a statement from Michelle Obama. All third-party voters, or those who are considering third party, should go back and listen to that show. There are some very severe consequences of voting third party in this particular election. And that's all I will say about that. We want to welcome in our interim general manager, Sandy Wyman. He's got his tin cans and string hooked up, and he's zooming in. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, Howard. Good morning, everyone. We are to Halloween. It's spooky. Ooh. I love the thumb and break the silence, because the silence is somewhat scary. Ooh.
I'm terrified.
Help
here.
us out here. We're at $89,276 coming from 541 donations. We are about 60,000 short of our overall goal with only a few days left on this drive. But in the immortal words of Alfred E. Newman, what? Me worry? Hey, come on, folks. It's KPFT. We're looking to tank up, pay the bills so we can keep it coming to you. Give us something sweet, a treat, and no trick. So we'll send it back to Egberto. We'll get our show, but we really need to have a good day today. Yesterday was somewhat, well, let's just say scary. Ooh, Egberto.
I'm scared to death.
Yeah, I was looking at those dang numbers every day, and I'm like, what's happening, folks? What's happening? But you know what? They were just taking a little breather. Anyway, folks, before we get started here on Aquino Day, we have to go to you-know-whom. We need to get that word of the day from El Señor Jacques Van Beba.
Good morning, Egberto. Excuse me.
Good morning, my brother.
Yeah, okay, well, this is about the economy. The economy is doing cartwheels. Banksters making money hand over fist. Out of sight grocery prices. Military spending and arms dealers' profits are way up. Healthcare costs are skyrocketing. More plastic than we know what to do with. And rent is way up. Yes, the economy is doing good if you can afford it, but it has a hideous dark side. Trick or treat depending on your economic status. The well-to-do do very well. The poor and working poor still struggle. We still need the economy to work for the less fortunate, too.
Man, that is prescient, and it's something that I am going to give a little soliloquy. But first, before we go into that, thank you for that, Jack. That is profound. and more so than many would think. But beforehand, today is Thursday, which means it's Brother Neil Aquino, the founder of the Houston Democracy Project, is with us. It's Thursday. Neil, what's going on, my brother? Good morning.
Good morning. It's Halloween in the 70s in Providence, Rhode Island. My father says if you don't take the apple, there might be a razor blade in it, and that is what Dad said. And preferably, um, I'd like a quarter or 50 cents would be most. But I would trick or treat in Providence, Rhode Island, and you'd buy those store made costumes that came in the package with the mask, um, and I would just go out trick or treating. I think sometimes alone, and sometimes with my mom, and the other kids would be trick or treating as well, and you'd be out Halloween night. But we didn't. If an apple came, I just threw it away. I chucked it.
Wow. You know what is so funny? I've been in the United States for decades, and for this is, I do everything. When you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do, and I celebrate everything. But my God, I could never get into trick or treat. I'm still trying. I eat the candy, but I'm
Yeah,
still trying to understand what the hell what the hell Halloween really is. But hey, what can I say? I'm just one of those nerds. But Neil, beforehand, let me do a quick pitch here, folks. I want to ask you kindly to give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1. And given that we didn't have our best day yesterday, in fact, Politics Done Right had its worst performance of this fund drive yesterday. I'd like to ask you kindly to can we make that up by starting the calls for contributions early? 713-526-5738, extension number 1. And likewise, you can go to kpft.org. Again, that is kpft.org, and support us best you can. $5 a month, $10 a month, or whatever it is that you can. So please consider that. Um, it, Look, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of informing to do between now and the election. We do we work hard to make sure we give you unadulterated truths and worthwhile information. Unlike a lot of other people spewing a whole lot of stuff, we really give you researched stuff. And we bring you the likes of Brother Neil Aquino here on Thursdays that kind of gets, even though national, but mostly local. So please support us best you can by giving us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org. I want to just, before we go to Neil's topics, I want to talk a little bit about the economy. Um, I think for there has been a problem with Democrats and the economy for a very long time. I'm going to give you some interesting facts here. Um, During the Obamacare debate, I watched the fights on TV. I watched the misrepresentations that the right was making on TV about Obamacare, about our healthcare system, about our economy, about communism, socialism, and the whole works. I watched it and I got so upset. I am here. I am a businessman. I had a software company and I'm watching this debate. I had to pay my health insurance for the whole family because as a sole proprietor, you don't get the benefits of that businesses, corporations get with healthcare. You don't get the benefits of only paying half of Social Security. So as a small business, I paid my entire Social Security bill, 15 point something percent, 14 point something percent. I'm sorry, 12 point something percent. I paid my entire Medicare taxes, 3 point something percent. I had to pay the full bill. There were times when my medical bill was over near $20,000 when deductibles and the premiums were included, etc. Having a wife with lupus and a daughter with a few issues as well. Well, then she didn't have those issues, but it was costing north of $20,000 for a year for insurance and all of that as a sole proprietor. So I understood as a small businessman how things really work deep on the inside, the benefits corporations got and all of that. So when we started talking about a universal healthcare system that's affordable, that you cannot be denied, I said my wife has lupus, so that created pre-existing conditions and a lot of issues. I said, great, we're going to finally have healthcare that other countries have that makes it available for everybody. And I watched the debate and I watched how it was horrendously marketed by Democrats, because as how could you allow the right to turn something good, something magnanimous, something that helped people into something that was bad? But they are so good at it, they were able to do it. So you know what I did? I've always been an activist, but I even got deeper into activism. But as a businessman, as somebody who sold software to just about everybody, government and private sector, I developed software for both of them. I couldn't really be a face, so I started to blog as an anonymous kind of a person. And finally, there are a lot of things that happened, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna write a damn book about this stuff, and wrote a book called As I See It: Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. Why did I do that? Because I felt the news media were screwing you because they weren't telling you the truth about healthcare. Not only was the news media screwing you, the politicians on both sides were screwing you. We had the Republicans trying to tell you that somehow getting a good healthcare was socialism, and you had some blue dog Democrats on the other side trying to say we want to have good universal healthcare, but somehow the private sector could do a good job by taking your money from you. That's how we got things like Medicare Advantage and all that crap. So I wrote the book, and in the process, I had to learn a whole lot about the different presidents and their economic systems, etc., what they did, etc. And what I found out was how horrendous Reaganism really was, and what it did to the budget and what it did for the semblance of prosperity. You take a look at what Reagan did, 16 million jobs created, what Clinton did, 21 million jobs created, what Carter did, 10 million jobs created in one administration, but that's a different story. But it always turned out this way, folks. Republicans with supply side economics come in, screw the economy up. The Democrats come in with Keynesian economics, fix the economy, but in the process of fixing the economy, people have to go through certain pains before the economy gets fixed. Then Republicans come back in based on the previous economy and say, look at what they did, even though what they did was fix the economy. So it turns out to be that constantly Democrats come in after a shattered economy, fix it, but pay the price for what it took to fix the economy. Biden came in and made a little thing a bit different. He didn't do an Obama. Obama did a slight, how should I say, Obama didn't go bat Keynesian crazy, but Biden went bat Keynesian crazy. And when Biden went bat Keynesian crazy, and look up the word Keynesian economics, what he did was he prevented for the first time a recession to occur to blow the inflation created by the corporate sector. It was magic. It proved that Keynesian economics work. And in the process, the best economy on the Western side in the world is the United States economy right now. And finally, the Wall Street Journal comes out today and says whoever wins the election have inherited the best economy. Now, look, there are some caveats here. It is still capitalism, and it still means that the economy is not distributed correctly to those who actually earn. But the economy in the aggregate is the best economy in the Western world, bar none. Bar none. And we did it by forcing inflation down because the corporate sector was scared into it down, as well as some fiscal policies. And not only did we do that, but it was done without a recession that every economist said would have occurred. But no, Biden went full Keynesians, brother. Spend like a dog. Not like a dog. Dogs don't spend, but spend. But he did it. He did it with AOC and all these guys pushing him in the back, saying, "Hey, guy, you've got to do it. You've got to do it." And even though he's a bit more moderate, it's like, okay, we got to do it. We got to do it. He did it. Folks, you are listening to a Donald Trump and his people talk about how bad the economy is, and the mainstream media is taking that and running with it and making it seem like it's true. You keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and people believe it. Look at the numbers. We have never, ever seen in this country, not even since the Depression, a recovery that occurred after what Trump left in 2020. Yeah, Biden shouldn't have run again because Biden is in fact too old. But if Biden was a younger person, Biden should have won that election would have won with flying colors, saying, I built back an economy. I did it with Keynesian economics. I did it by rebuilding American infrastructure. I did it by making sure all these things came back. I am not a lover of Biden, but Biden has been the best progressive to progressives ever. No other president claiming to be progressive have been more progressive than Biden, and he saved conservatives, he saved progressives, he saved everybody by going out and pushing these policies. That is a statement of fact that can be corroborated, verified. It's in the numbers. And those of you that are going out voting, and I can't tell you who to vote for, but I can tell you what will happen if you vote a particular way. Anybody who votes for increasing tariffs across the board, as is suggested, is voting to destroy all that was fixed. Anybody voting to further cut taxes for the undeserving is voting to blow the economy again. Anybody voting to support these things, you are voting to shoot yourself in the foot. Now, a lot of people know this intrinsically, and a lot of people know this. But you know what? There are some other forces that Wilkerson has spoken about that I can't go into because we don't have the time. We're in fund drive right now. But I'll probably play that on Friday when Brother Aquino isn't here, because we must give Aquino his time. But brothers and sisters, vote wisely. Don't vote on stupidity. Vote wisely. Vote wisely. The foundation has been laid. The Wall Street Journal themselves, which I don't particularly like, but they've said whoever inherits the economy, this economy is inheriting a strong economy. You can either keep it going forward or you can blow it. And that's in your hands. The voters, that's in the hands of the voters right now. Neil Aquino, start. I'm coming to you, Alan, but I need to let Neil get started with what he needs to talk about today. Brother Neil, come on in.
Good morning, everyone listening. And I just briefly, I know we have our pledge drive and callers. I talk about weekly local issues here, and I just want to talk about a couple. We saw Kim Ogg. We saw a report that Kim Ogg had spent 21 months and something like 700,000. No, that's it's 21 months and a lot of money to see if there had been any election fraud in 2022. And just to be certain, there had been no election fraud in Harris County in 2022, and she worked with the so-called Texas Rangers to make that determination. And there's no election fraud. Our county clerk Tanisha Hudspeth does a good job, and it's important to mention that because if Colin Alred defeats Ted Cruz by 4,000 votes, or they want to make up some story, they're going to come after our vote count, and they're already coming after our vote count here in Harris County. Our current tax assessor collector, whom is the person responsible for voter registration, Ann Harris Bennett, it was reported by the Chronicle, hadn't used her county ID card to swipe into the office in 4 years, right? And so there's nothing to defend about that. Somebody knew that. Somebody should have said something. Somebody should have said that. But they're saying that no one was there monitoring the voter registrations, and there's already been a lawsuit. So don't let them tell you that the voter registration logs are there. Her office was monitoring it. She wasn't there. Um, and don't let them tell you that the count is funky. Clerk Hudspeth and Paul Betancourt, state senator, will speak well of Clerk Hudspeth, but don't let them tell you that something's funky here. And it's important that we back up the process. And then, secondly, a democracy matter. Again, if you remember last year, we as Houston voters voted for Proposition B, and that was passed 65 to 35. There's something called the Galveston Area Council, HGAC, that's a regional governance, and they allocate money for transportation, funding, I-45 expansion. They vote on things, and we barely have any representation on it, us, the city of Houston. The people of Houston voted to get out of it if they won't give us equal representation. Predictably, they won't give us equal representation. At city council, the membership dues came up to pay the membership. The city controller, Chris Hollins, and you may have seen there's been some back and forth between Chris Hollins and John Whitmire. We're facing a fascist threat in this country, and John Whitmire seems to think the problem is Chris Hollins, right? He's not out. He could use some of his $10 million in campaign money to be protecting us from mass deportations and all that, but he's out busy, ripping out traffic medians and attacking Chris Hollins. But the dues came up. Hollins said in his monthly presentation of the city finances that he makes to council, how can we, according to the city charter and Prop B, approve this money for HGAC? 4 council members agreed with Hollins: Tarsha Jackson, Abby Kamen, Ed Pollard, Letitia Plummer, Pollard, Jackson, Kamen. So give them credit, call them, thank them. They did the democratic thing. They respected the vote. Unfortunately, the vote was 9-4. There are a few council members absent yesterday. It was 9-4 to approve the HGAC funding. The city attorney was saying there was some federal issues there. But so we voted 65-35. The money came up. Council and Whitmire approved that money despite our vote. And it's frustrating because we talk about democracy. We have all these democracy threats. The people vote. And the answer from city council was, take a hike. People of Houston, your vote didn't matter there.
I mean, I think that is one of the most important things that you said there. Proposition B, which says if they don't give Houston proportional representation, I think on the transportation board, that why the hell are we there? We pull out our donation. And the people in Houston said, in Harris County says, absolutely so. We want. I mean, in Houston, we want
Yeah.
out. Yeah, we want out. And
Right.
these council people decided in Trumpian fashion to go ahead and stay in. And I think what you said is Chris Hollins came and he complained. He said, I can't. He complained about it.
Right.
So that
Right.
we'll make sure that folks understand, because I hope Chris Hollins works for. I mean, likely Chris Hollins will be going against Whitmire next, so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, beforehand, folks, we're in Fund Drive, and would like to ask you so kindly to give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, or go to kpft.org Folks, we are at a big zero right now. Would love for you to give us a hand. Let's make sure to keep KPFT on air. Sandy, are you there?
Yes, I am, Egberto. Thank you. Yep, we're at zero. Ooh, it's scary. It's Halloween. I don't know what you're dressed as. I hope it's something good when you get out the door and everybody walks up to you and gives you your favorite treat. Our favorite treat is being funded so we could pay all the bills all the way through the winter. And seriously, folks, we have this day, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, and it's over. And we are way, way short of our goal currently. Still time to get there. I'm hopeful that we will get there ultimately, but we can only do it with your participation. Please do not sit idle. Please do take action by getting up off the couch and doing your part to support community radio. This would be something that would be very welcome down here in terms of keeping this station alive in Houston as it's been for 54 and a half years. A little more than 2 years ago, we got on the air on our Caroline Street studios, and quite frankly, there was a group of us looking at the whole thing, wondering if we were going to make it, because we were literally out of money to pay bills at that point. Well, everybody was very generous, and we've managed the budget. We've managed to keep it to a very minimum. And we still have the one employee, but we are one bad fund drive away from disaster. I'm hoping this is not the one here. Well, what we need is free speech on the airwaves. What we need is KPFT to continue in Houston. What we need is you to participate. If you haven't yet donated this drive or haven't donated in a long time, please do consider a donation. 713-526-5738, option 1. or kpft.org. We have a brunch in January at Under the Volcano. That's going to be a musical brunch. And then we also have a fajita dinner coming up on November 13th. So 2 meals that you can share with your fellow KPFT listeners. The fajita dinner is at Cadillac Bar and the brunch at Under the Volcano. You can pick up both of those, plate at both of those for a $200 contribution. I hope a few of you take us up on that and get those rooms filled up and everybody enjoys the company, the talk, and I will be there too. And if you sign up, seek me out, tell me what you think, how we can improve. The feedback is always welcomed. Call 713-526-5738 or go to kpft.org and click donate. Waiting for that first pledge this morning and it's almost half past. Come on, break the ice, please. Egberto, back to you.
Thank you, Sandy. Folks, that number is 713-526-5738, extension 1 to donate, or go to kpft.org, click that donate button, select Politics Done Right as the program you're supporting, and give whatever you can. $5 a month, a coffee a month, that'd be great. $10 a month, which is what I do here, $10 a month. That's 2 coffees a month. You feel good that you're paying it forward. But let's go to Alan. Alan, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right, Egberto. Yeah,
Talk to me,
I'd like
brother.
to comment on that, on Michelle Obama. Now, she's talking about, how dangerous it is to vote third party. I was wondering, could you expound upon, maybe that wouldn't happen if maybe she talked about why and how APAC has corrupted our political process.
No, you're absolutely right. APAC has corrupted our political process, both Democratic.
Well, what choice
And
do we have?
yeah, let me answer your question. APAC has corrupted the process. That's absolutely true, no doubt whatsoever. Now, earlier I didn't listen to the program, but you notice earlier when we started the program, Howard Reynolds came on and spoke about why it is dangerous to vote third party now. And here's what I have to tell you, brother Allen, and it's rather simple. It's rather simple. I am not here for perfection, and I'm here to say those of us who are progressive, those of us who want our particular people to be in to get elected, we have to do our job in the primaries. We have to get the job done. And you can say that the Democratic Party plays games, which they play games a lot, to get the establishment in power. But you know what? they can only play games as long as we don't have the machine to allow them to play games. Let me give an example here in Harris County, and Neil can attest to this as well. Progressives for a long time were pretty much invisible in Harris County. When we decided to work in Harris County, we got the right a whole lot of the right kind of people elected. Let me just bring Brother Neil into the conversation here. Neil, won't you agree that we have to do
Yeah,
this on the
yeah.
primary level?
The office holders we have here, some of the countywide, the county judge, Christian Menifee. Um, it is so much as Sean Tier, who's going to come in and replace Kim Ogg. It is so much better, and it did have to do with the work of grassroots activists. And another thing I'd say about third party, Jill Stein first ran for governor of Massachusetts in 2002. She's run for governor of Massachusetts twice, president 3 or 4 times. She's built nothing. I mean, do you hear her name off the election cycle? Do you hear them organizing? You know, your a Green Party should be organizing, should be building. What have they built? Nothing.
And I think that is the most important thing that Neil said there. For anyone voting for any of these people in the third parties, you don't build a political movement with having a known name or a face everybody talks about. Oh, Jill Stein, and what's the brother that's running as well?
Cornel
Uh,
West.
Cornel
Correct.
West. You don't build a movement by coming out and going around and giving speeches. You build a movement the way we do it here in Harris County. We create organizations. You create an indivisible Houston. You create a Houston Democracy Project. You create all these things that build infrastructure to get the people to support the folks that you're going to run. You don't go ahead and say, "Oh, the Democratic Party's establishment sucks, and so I'm going to vote third party." You go ahead and you build something. You put the effort in there to build, and that's what none of these third party. Look, I like Cornel West. I know him personally. I like Jill Stein. I know her. You can go to my website and see interviews I've done with Cornel West and Jill Stein. It is irresponsible for them to run right now. It is irresponsible for them to run right now because that's a selfish act that says, you know what? My hate for the Democratic Party, or pointing out that the Democratic Party is not doing exactly as they should. I have the privilege to go out there. When Cornel West loses, he's still a professor at Princeton. When she loses, she's still a millionaire that's invested in a whole. I listen to the interview that I did with her. She's a multimillionaire that's invested in a lot of things, including places that aren't green energy. Okay, so what I'm saying, my brother Alan, is simple.
Mhm.
A third party vote right now may feel good for the 5 seconds you make the vote, but if the outcome of the election endangers all of Americans, it's on those folks who decided not to say, my vote is not just my vote. My vote is a collective vote. Anything else, Alan?
Well, the one other thing, I mean, this is a little bit off topic, but you know, uh, I would maybe like for you to, because I know that you know about this. When people like to talk about S-hole nation and all that
Right.
kind of stuff, you know, I would think that you should bring up the fact how the Panama Canal was built, who did the hard work and the dying, and how it has contributed to the American economy over the last
You're
130.
Brother, I thank you so kindly for that. My people, my West Indian people from the Caribbean and Central America built that canal. We
Oh, yeah,
died of
no, what I'm
malaria.
saying is, what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of people from the Caribbean islands, I would suspect that members of your family came from the Caribbean islands
Yes,
to
sir.
Panama to get employment. You know, it
Yes.
wasn't just indigenous people, as well as some of the African American veterans of the Spanish American War.
Yes,
You can
sir.
go, yeah, This is not widely known. So when individuals talk about S-hole nations and they just want to come to the United States and take, and all that, that fact is never brought up. And I'm just saying, whenever that becomes part of the discussion, that's
Alan,
something that
Alan, Alan. I gotta go to take some more calls, but you're a smart brother. I appreciate
okay.
your call, and you take care. I want to give a big thank you to Dawn. Thank you for being the first contributor of the morning, folks. We need about 5 more Dawns, so please give us a call at
Thank you,
713
Don. Yeah.
526 5738, extension number 1 to donate, or go to kpft.org, hit that donate button. Let's go to Ashley. Come on in, Ashley.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
First and foremost, happy Halloween. But
Oh,
I wanted
I'm a
to,
nerd. I'm a nerd. I don't do Halloween, but it's okay. Ah.
okay, well, happy Dia de los Muertos to those who celebrate. Um, I have 2 points. So, my first point is in regards to the fund drive. And unfortunately, I cannot donate, but I want to make a pitch in that having different programs, can't the programs can't all be similar. I think as Houstonians, we experienced when a monopoly occurs how detrimental that is to us. We experienced the monopoly at Centerpoint, and that didn't bode very well for us. We've all experienced the monopoly in the airline industry and how there's like 4 or 5 main airlines keeping the prices high. It's insane. And then I want to relate this to also infectious diseases, because we learned in school that in viruses, bacteria, whatever, what have you, prion diseases, do the best when its target is all the same. So for me, I believe that we as humans must seek diversity in many things, in almost everything. There must be consistency in that diversity, because similarity and sameness is frankly deadly, as we have seen in COVID. We've seen this in prion disease, in regular diseases. We have seen when the target is all the same, it is easier to wipe it out. That's one point I wanted to make. And then, that point is I wanted to make because you got to contribute to everyone who's not financially backed by corporations as well. So we can diversify the pool of media. Now, I also want to give a plea to those who have not early voted yet. I underwent a medical emergency and ended up having to use government programs to have a normal life. And we have one candidate who is vying to destroy those programs. And it's not, and those programs are not for the welfare queens or the people who don't want to work. Those programs are insidious in helping those that you see every day, especially the elderly. You think that the elderly only rely on Medicare, but many of the elderly have to dip into Medicaid because Medicare doesn't cover everything. So as a person who uses the disability aspect of it, speaking of which, a lot of elderly are on disability as well. So especially that those programs, I'm a millennial, so we already don't have Social Security, and now you're wiping out the only other program that we could have when we grow old. So we have one candidate who is saying they want to destroy all these programs and even get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And I believe him. And when someone tells you who they are, you believe them. Take their word for what it is. And I'm not taking that risk. I hope you guys don't take that risk. I hope you vote for the safety of everyone and not for the safety of yourself. Because yes, self-safety is important, but I think community safety intrinsically helps personal safety. And that's all I wanted to say. And lastly, good morning.
Thank you, my
Very
dear.
good.
Let me tell everybody that's my daughter. I didn't even know she was listening to the show today. Thank you, beautiful. Love you, babe. Let me tell you something. My daughter has had 2 strokes. And after her first stroke, stayed in med school. After her second stroke, the thing that she would not allow herself to do is not finish med school. And she finished her med school. She won't be able to practice medicine, but she has decided as she's recovering to become a teacher, and she's doing a hell of a job. I'm proud of you, babe. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Anyway,
And
folks,
let me just say, Alan,
yes.
that was such a great call, and Ashley needing help. That Alan referenced Michelle Obama and third parties, but the speech I saw that Michelle Obama, maybe it's the same speech. She was talking about women's health. That's what Michelle Obama was talking about, and that's the point she made, that women need these programs. So do men, but women need these programs, and that's and if we lose this stuff, just as Ashley said, we're we're cooked.
You know,
We're
it
cooked.
is funny because nobody know what situations you're going to be in. Like I was explaining a long time, Ashley is now outside of that 26-year age that she can fall on our insurance policies, you know, the
Right.
Obamacare
Right.
kind of a thing, right? So it is amazing that people just don't get it. Your vote does matter. You know, your vote does matter. I've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes over the years. And it's amazing that I have a daughter that somehow something like a Donald Trump can screw with our lives. But I want to thank Don for giving. We need a whole lot more folks. 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or please go to kpft.org, select the donate button, and then select Politics Done Right as the program you're supporting. Let me throw it to Sandy, and then we'll get to Bard. Come on in, Sandy.
Thank you very much, Egberto, and thank you, Don, for breaking the ice here on this Halloween morning. It's a little less scary. Ooh. We are still a couple of $100 shy of our goal this morning, but moreover, the goal that we talk about, the $300 on this program, I know many of you are listening, and I know many of you have yet to contribute. We should be able to make this with just a couple of phone calls from you. Now, KPFT is around for you. Are you around for KPFT? Are you a member of KPFT? Have you ever donated before? If not, well, you're listening to this, and it's only by the good graces of 54 years and about 8 months worth of donations that have come to us from listeners all over that time period that allows you to hear today. If you donate today, you're ensuring that people will be able to hear us tomorrow. Please pass this forward. Pretty simple to do. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. If you can join us on a sustaining basis where you give us $5 or $10 or an amount of your choosing each month without cancellation, in other words, it's evergreen until you call up and say, I can't do this anymore. You know, something's happened. Maybe you don't like the station anymore. Maybe you hit some economic peril. You call up, you cancel. It's that simple. But in the meantime, the pledge keeps rolling. And when you join others that are providing a little bit each month at the start of the month or sometime during the month, you're helping to finance the $52,000 cost that we bear each and every month to keep this thing going. It takes a lot of us. I would prefer to see 52,000 people donate $1 each every month. Well, the math isn't there quite yet for KPFT, so we're reliant on you listening right now. If you haven't donated, please do your part. Join Dawn, 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. A $10 a month contribution will get you a KPFT Caroline Street coffee mug and a 1-pound bag of Lola Savannah roasted beans, Caroline Street beans, for you to grind up and brew up. I know it keeps us going down at the studio, and hey, maybe you'll enjoy a hot brew, but moreover, maybe you will keep on enjoying KPFT because you've done your part. Egberto, back to you.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Thank you so kindly. Folks, please give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Let me tell you, you're going to feel good after you support a program that's really out there telling the truth and and not only that, objectively, and that you have a part in. Remember, this is your program, this is your radio station. Or go to kpft.org, hit that donate button, select Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting, and then give whatever you can. Sandy's been saying, let's get sustainers, $5 a month. Hey, that's a coffee a month. $10 a month. Hey, that's 2 coffees a month. That's what I give to the station every month. Support a whole lot of 501c3s, which is what we have to do. We can, Alan called and Alan made some very important information. I mean, gave us a chance to give some information out there. We have to participate. 713-526-5738. It's funny. Let's give an example because first of all, thank you so kindly, Persuasive Barrier. Let me give you information here from the chat. I'm coming to the phones in a minute. Paul Fleming from Atlanta, Georgia said, Trump stumbles, drags his leg, almost falls over, and tries at least 3 times to open the door. Some transparency with Trump's medical records would be nice.
Right.
If
Right. That's
this
he couldn't
were
get in the garbage truck.
Right. If this were Biden or Kamala, it would be national news. It'll be all over the news. They would playing it on a reel over and over and over again. You have to ask yourself, why is it that you're not seeing that on the news over and over again? We're talking about it because it matters, but you're not. Anyway, welcome aboard, Paul Fleming from Atlanta, Georgia. Buddy Flood, welcome aboard. Thank you for the comments about my daughter, Buddy. Eric Hayes is in the house as well as if I missed you, forgive me. Let's go to Corina. Come on in, Corina.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Talk to me, my friend, my sister.
This whole issue is has been a farce. If you look at the reality of it, this administration that wants to come in is, well, the Trump administration, not Kamala. We're looking at an administration that wants to break down the citizens' vote. They're starting here in Texas with the school systems, and basically they want to run out public education, and that's where we're fighting tooth and nail right now in Houston to be able to bring this to light, because they've taken over the public school system here. The Texas Education Agency has taken over, and they have basically installed a tyrant who
Mike Miles.
has nothing
Yeah.
to do with education.
Right.
Mike Miles.
Right.
And he has no certification as superintendent. The Texas Education Commissioner installed him here to oversee the district, and he installed a board of managers to help him basically dismantle the school system that we have, the public school system. We have an elected board, which they moved out of the way. They've sat with their own people who are all business people. There's no educator there. And now you have a man running a system that has no clue what he's doing because he's not an educator. He's from the military. His background is military.
And he has failed in Colorado with a whole lot. Every school, charter school system that he's worked for has been a failure. So, I mean, we have to recall that as well. But sorry to interrupt you, Corina.
No, go ahead. I would love.
Let me say this.
too.
That's at the bottom of your ballot. There's the school bond. The school bond is at the bottom of your ballot, and that's a good reminder. Thank you, Karina, to vote all the way down your ballot. And early voting ends tomorrow. And remember that you can vote at any one of the 87 early voting centers, no matter where you are in the county. You can walk in, go to any of the 87 voting centers and vote your local ballot, even if you're nowhere near home. Election day is the 5th, and early voting ends tomorrow. Early voting goes till 9 p.m. today and tomorrow. And please vote all the way down the ballot.
Thank you. Corina, anything else you want to say to close out?
just basically that this bond is not for the children. This bond is for him. He wants to line his pocket. $4.4 billion. That is the biggest bond ever proposed in HISD in the state of Texas, as a matter of fact. And so what we're asking is don't vote for the bond, vote for the children, because basically the majority of that money is only going to cover 34 schools. But there's going to be money left over. What's going to happen to that one? Right now,
it's
he's
going to go to
remodeling,
Colorado.
renovating. Yeah, exactly. Go back.
So what's
And
your
he's
suggestion?
really
What are you
focused
telling
on it.
folks to do? I can't tell them what to do, but what are you suggesting that people do?
Vote no on that bond, because a vote of yes is going to basically leave Texas, and that money's going to go away. This is a bond that's going to carry us for 30 years, and the end result is going to be $10 million. It's not going to be $4.4 billion. So it's going to be $10 billion, and so who can afford that? We can't.
Corina?
The taxpayers.
Corina, your voice is valuable, and thank you so kindly for giving us some advice. All right?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
You have
And
a
and
wonderful
and
rest.
and before we move to the next call, I just want to make a brief pledge pitch. You know, you're hearing this local content here. This is all volunteer, and you're hearing this local content here. We talked about Mayor Whitmire, talked about Chris Hollins. I'm here every Thursday. We talk expressly, or mostly, excuse me, about local issues, and you get that on KPFT. You saw where the Los Angeles Times and Washington Post would not endorse for president. It seemed that Jeff Bezos put pressure on the Post. The super tech billionaire owner of the LA Times made that decision. So at KPFT, you're hearing local discussion. We're naming names, and you know that on the radio, especially, there's very little of this. So your funding pledge, your sustaining pledge, allows this talk to go on and allows local officials to be held accountable, or even sometimes praised.
Thank you so kindly for that, folks. Please, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. We only have one contributor so far. We need at least 5 more of those. If you can be so kind to do so now. I know you love the program. We look at the numbers. You love the program. Let's go ahead and let's bring it over the top. I know you can do it. 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org, hit the donate button, and after you hit that donate button, you select Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting and give whatever you can. Let's go to Isabel, number 5. Isabel, you're on.
Yes. Good morning, Don. I just happened to be out for an earlier appointment, and I got your radio station, which I'm enjoying. I had a question. Also, your opinion on the independent vote. You know, I really call it it's a lost vote, and it's I think it's a lost vote, and it's an ego vote, because if you want to make a point, the point will be lost if you're not voting for a side that actually has a true chance at making a difference to our future. But my question to you is, you said that I understand what you're going through and the cost of medicine and how it affects your daughter who's above 26 years old and she can't be on your private insurance. But I would like to know, I'm curious, how is Donald Trump to blame for that?
Oh, that's very simple. Donald Trump is not to blame for that at all. The entire system is to be blamed for that. But the proposal, or well, we shouldn't say a proposal that Donald Trump has. It's not a proposal that he has. It's a concept of a proposal that he has. Oh, wow. Did you drop her or did she drop herself? Because I really wanted to engage her. Here's the thing,
She
folks.
dropped herself.
She dropped herself. Excellent. Let me just say, Isabel, and I hope you continue to listen. The policies of Donald Trump is the policies of so far free market healthcare insurance. That's an oxymoron. And the reason it's an oxymoron is because free market healthcare assumes that healthcare follows the same type of market as buying a soda pop or buying water or buying milk. It does not. You don't have complete control of getting sick. And if you do get sick, you will get health care. Health care belongs in the commons. And while Obamacare moved it a bit closer to the commons, what Donald Trump is proposing is laissez-faire action, removal of all regulations, which means if you have pre-existing conditions or if you have many other health issues, it's within the free market to say we will handle it or not. We will take care of it or not. So if you were calling, and I don't know if this is the case, but I am inferring it's the case. If you were calling as a woman and at the same time a Trump supporter, let me just tell you, I can't tell you how to vote, but you're voting to likely harm every woman in your life, and that's not an overstatement. You're harming every person who is not rich that may have a health issue. That's not an overstatement. And please do feel free to call back and ask specific questions that I can give you specific answers to. We speak to everybody. We want to entertain everybody. If you want specificity of what right wing healthcare would do to you, including to all of you who are voting right wing, please call. I would love to engage the conversation. It's important, and I think it is imperative, and you would do a service to all Americans if you do. So please feel free to call back. Let's go to Bart. Bart, you're on. Bart, are you still there? Okay, Bart may have hung up. Let's go to Brian.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm hot.
How you doing, Brian?
Good. I want to thank Don for his contribution to your program this morning.
Her.
Was it Don?
Yeah, DAWN.
Dawn.
Okay. Don. Okay. Well, thank you for contributing. I thought Walter Mondale or Michael Dukakis was a bad presidential pick for the Democrats, but I'm now in the firm belief that Kamala Harris is even worse than both of them combined. Her idea of speaking is non-existent.
Really?
She can't keep a train of thought. Yeah, she can't keep a train of thought further than the ant.
Brian, you know I love you, but I'm gonna have to tell you this, Brian. I love you. I first start by telling you I love you because I'm going to really knock you now. Okay, brother.
Yes, sure.
What planet are you on? Have you ever heard her speak? And have you ever heard Donald Trump speak? This is a woman who goes in front of juries. This is a woman who can actually articulate and speak in full sentences. Have you ever heard your Führer speak, Donald Trump? Have you ever heard him give a complete sentence, Brian? Yes or no?
Yes, I have.
Okay, Brian, I got to go to the other. Brian, I gotta let you go. I'm going to the other person unless you have something else to say. Come on, what else you got to say, brother?
No, listen to her. She's dumb.
No, Brian,
also,
you know some. Brian, okay. Listen to me, Brian. Okay.
I have one other point.
Okay, make your other point.
Okay, if you want socialized medicine, go to the VA, and you'll find out just how horrible that socialized medicine is.
Okay, first of all, the VA actually, once you get in and pass the entry, the VA is pretty darn good. But we'll talk about that another day.
No,
just
not.
like the post office is very good. Have a great day, my brother. We'll talk a little bit later.
I gotta say.
Go ahead.
When I was a high school senior, I went to a Walter Mondale rally in Cincinnati and got to school late. And they asked me why, and I said I was at the Mondale rally downtown, and they gave me a detention. And I'm still bitter 40 years later. That's every time I hear Walter Mondale. So if you have a young person in your life, please encourage their involvement in politics. They should have given me extra credit, and they gave me a detention. And yes, I'm still bitter 40 years later.
I hear you, brother. All right, let's do a quick pitch before I go to Johnny. Folks, we are only at one contribution. We are at the station ID time, and we need to get a couple more callers. So I'm not a couple, like four more callers. 281 remember 281 713 526 5738 713 526 5738 extension number 1. Please donate whatever you can. Alternatively, go to kpft.org. This is KPFT Houston 90.1 FM. Folks, please go ahead and give us a call at 713 526 5738. Let me throw it to Sandy before Johnny. Come on in, Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. We're still a couple of $100 shy of our $300 goal, and Dawn is the only one to step up this hour. Folks, we can't do this without you. We really would like to see a couple of more pledges come in. I don't understand why more of you are not stepping up right now. We bring KPFT to you for free. That's right. You turn on the radio, you click listen now, the stream comes through. You know, it's there for you. We don't have a paywall. We don't send an invoice out, but we do require support. Now, we don't play commercials, so it doesn't come that way. And the other avenues of the support that we are able to garner do not provide but, maybe 3-4% of our total needs. The money comes from the listeners. The listeners donate during fund drive. The fund drive is now. Get a Politics Done Right t-shirt for $100 or another thank you gift. But please do step up and donate. We cannot do this alone. It is pretty scary here on Halloween. A little rain coming down this morning. Hopefully it'll dry out so that the kids can go trick-or-treating later. But in the meantime, please consider KPFT and its 54 and 8 months of operation and how we've gotten here by the good graces of listeners. So we're asking once again, everybody listening, call up, donate $5 a month or $10 a month. Put down a C note if you can do it, but make your voice heard and keep this station on the air. 713-526-5738. We are $624 away from $90,000. So if one of you out there could do $1 a day and then maybe three more do a $10 a month sustainer, we'll be over that $90,000 mark. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Again, we need you. 713-526-5738. Houston needs you. kpft.org. The oasis in the media desert. KPFT needs you. Back to you, Egberto.
I love that. The oasis in the desert, and Persuasive Barry wants to make sure that I tell you because I screwed up. Persuasive Barry donated as well. Thank you, my brother. Anyway, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Folks, we need your support. Look, I do this on a volunteer basis. And Sandy will tell you, honestly, we do this. We make sure to have a complete program prepared for you. We make sure and have the research done for you. We make sure and we clip the videos for you so that we can give the narrative, the truthful narrative. It's a lot of work. My daughter would tell you 16 hours a day is what I do in front of all these terminals. And this is done just on the basis, again, of donations, contributions. And as one who's doing this volunteer work, I still think I have to be representative and do what I ask others to do. And that is to support this public station that allows this content to be out there for people to hear, for people to see. So I am also a contributor I am a donor and a contributor to KPFT. I'm a $10 a month contributor. I'm asking those of you that are listening, that takes this information, that use this information, that's enlightened by this information, that is made whole by this information, to give us a call at 713-526-5738. 5738, extension number 1. Look, here's something. A lot of you that are listening to me here, and this is not a guilt trip, this is just a reality trip. A lot of you, all the politicians are out there, Kamala and Doug, and all of them are sending you these emails every day. Donate, 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 donate. And you know what I do know? A lot of you are sending those donations to these candidates. You know how I know? Because of their reports that says how much they're getting. We are a little station in Houston that are the closest to you. And, we don't send out all these mailers every day trying to get the cash from you. We only do this 4 times a year at KPFT.
Yeah, and well, we're here. Campaigns. I like to call them extractive industries. So even the most progressive local political campaign, they come, they spend the money, and there's perpetual low turnout here in Houston. They haven't built anything for the next election cycle. Campaigns come, go. Frequently, the people who manage these campaigns don't work. They go campaign to campaign. They don't live in the city or the county, so they take the knowledge that they've gained about how maybe to make a progressive win, and they take it elsewhere. KPFT remains here. It's 54 years. Be here next year, so long as the money exists, is there to get it. But this is something. This is a permanent structure of information, a permanent structure of knowledge and power. Knowledge is power, and this will last. And a political campaign, it's super important, but once it folds up, it's gone. And then they recreate the wheel again. You pay all those startup costs for them again. But here we continue and we empower people daily and locally.
Thank you for that, Neil. 713-526-573, extension 1. I have to give a big, big, big thank you to William and Carla. Thank you so kindly for your contribution. Our 2 contributors today are three are existing contributors. I need to ask as well. We need more existing contributors to call in, but we also need new people, folks that have never given before. Why don't you join our membership? Remember, once you give $25 or above, you are a voting member of KPFT. I think it's $25, either 25 or 40. I can't remember which one it is. You are a voting member of KPFT 90.1 FM. You can actually elect the board members. I'm stepping off of the board effective December, both the local board and the national board effective December. Openings are going to be there for other people to be able to serve on this great station's board. Folks, please give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, or go to kpft.org and support the station however you can. Those campaigns pay consultants. Some of them get $10,000 per session. And they don't really know the community. We know the community, Neil. With your Houston Democracy Project, you are out there. Everybody, you just gave can I actually say where you gave an interview recently?
I recently did an interview yesterday for Estonian television,
Uh,
and Estonian and beyond. It'll be on a Baltic network for Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, and a local journalist referred me to them.
But let me just say this. One of the reasons I wanted to bring that up, and you're not going to butter yourself up the way it needs to be done correctly. Let me tell you, Neil was selected because they wanted somebody in the know that could tell them what would happen with a Trump administration, etc. They wanted to know this information because they're scared that Russia may invade them next. So they wanted
They
to
are.
see where
Yeah.
the minds of people were. And they used Neil Aquino and said, tell me, what are the American people thinking right now? Exactly how are these things happening? You have people that near, they want to get to people near where we are. So what I'm
Right. They
saying,
interviewed me
folks,
at the West Gray Multi-Service Center. They wanted a local Texas, Harris County angle. Yep.
there you go. So folks, it's important. we are the closest to the people. So yes, give to the politicians as they're asking for. Hey, welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. Thank you for being here. But yes, folks, please give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or kpft.org. Go to the donate button. All right, Johnny, come on in, my brother.
Trick or treat, smell my feet. So, how appropriate that it's raining outside right now, at least where I'm at. And, oh, it's not dark anymore. Okay, the dawn is a-coming. Maybe that's a good thing. So, Sandy said something that kind of scared me, believe it or not. He brought back this memory of when we were children, and we were dealing with some people that were angry, bitter, most likely right-wingers, who would hide razor blades in apples. We've gone from seeing people hide razor blades in apples to putting razor blades in the Rio Grande for providing another kind of trick or treat, if you will. Imagine if you're 9 years old and you're with your friends and you're going door to door, and then you come up to one door and someone like Donald Trump opens the door looking angry like he did when they took that mugshot of him. Would you feel comfortable as a child opening up your bag and saying trick or treat for someone like that dressed in a suit jacket and tie and looking all angry at you? I'd run. I'd probably come back and pelt his house with eggs or toilet paper his trees. So we're dealing with people that don't give a damn. They don't give a rat's you know what. But here's the thing, though. I will push back a little bit on this idea of what you're saying about a luxury of voting. That applies to the swing states, purple states, swing states, whatever you want to call them, states like Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan. There's a few others. I think there's 7 states altogether. If you live in those states and you're hearing this conversation via the internet, I would urge you that you can't be like I am here in Texas, a red state. If you're progressive in those states, please vote for Kamala Harris. I would urge you to do that. But as a progressive here in Texas, I have to vote what Alberto is describing as third party. I don't see my vote for Cenk Uygur or Cornel West or the Green Party candidate, what's her name, Jill Stein. I don't see that as a vote for Donald Trump. That's not a vote for Donald Trump. That's a vote for other people. That is a signal. It should be a strong signal to those people in the Democratic Party who do afterwards assessments to say all these people in this red state, they voted not for our candidate but for a progressive of a different name. What's going on?
Johnny, what are you doing in the Alred Ted Cruz race?
Say again?
Johnny, what are you doing? I understand you're voting third party in the presidential race. What are you doing in the Alred Ted Cruz race?
Oh, I'm voting for Alred.
Right. Okay. And support. I don't think we should give up on Texas for the presidential race. I understand you've made your. I'm not going to change your mind, but I just would encourage folks that if you're voting third party, go down that ballot. Get to the school bond. The Alred Cruz race theoretically is competitive, and so if you feel that the presidential race here is lost, I don't hold that view actually. I'm not, but it doesn't matter.
It's not lost. It's close
I don't
within
believe it's
the
lost,
range.
but the Alred Cruz race, is closer, and I would encourage people who are voting third party at the presidential race. Please vote for Alred, and please vote down the ballot and down to the school.
Okay, wait. So theoretically, well, you're not. Yeah, you can. I can't. But anyway, let me just say one thing. Johnny, are you done?
No, I'm not.
Okay, finish up, my brother.
Point that out. But he forgets. You guys are forgetting. You guys are in Houston. There's lots of listeners in other counties. I'm in Galveston County, so I can't register my displeasure with that bond issue.
No, I understand. Just the Alred Cruz race. I understand. Just for folks in Houston.
Hey, Johnny, I got some more calls that I got to get in. So let's talk tomorrow, brother. I'll be here with you tomorrow. So let me get some other calls in, and we'll talk, okay? Thank you, bro.
We're dealing with the party of razor blades and apples in the Rio Grande, and if you're in Texas, if a red state, You have an obligation to let the Democratic Party know you're not a happy camper. That's all.
Let's talk about that on after the election. Let's go to Betty. Come on in, Betty.
Hi, good morning. It's
Good morning,
Sunday
sis.
night. Hi. Uh, t- Johnny
Oh wait,
needs to get.
Betty, hold on a second. Betty, hold on a second. I need to say thank you to a new member, George. Thank you so kindly. He says he's donating today because he wants to support the station so it can continue providing great programs it provides and they give out good information. Thank you so kindly, George.
Great,
I
thank you.
really do appreciate you. All right, sorry for cutting you, Betty. Come on in.
Johnny needs to go all the way in Galveston, get on the Carnival for a 4-day cruise. He needs that. And he is considered in the old books being different, voting different, or being different as a queer duck.
No,
And
Betty. Look, I respect you. I respect Johnny. One of the things that Johnny is speaking about is Johnny is not anti-progressive. Johnny wants the right people to win. He's just saying that given that he believes his vote doesn't count because he's in Texas, he can actually have a protest vote, but he would not do that if he is in a swing state. We need to make sure we hang together. Folks that have the values of people stick to that. So he's a good guy, and you're a great person yourself, Betty. But Betty, I have to go to Harry, and I don't have much time. Okay, sis?
Okay, well, I just on the donations, I want let's get the money coming in so I can bring in the dancing girls. Have a good day.
There you go, girlfriend. There you go. Let's go to
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you. Come on in, Harry. Real quick, Harry. I'm sorry, I'm gonna short you today.
Happy,
Give me 30 seconds.
Happy Halloween and happy Festival of Samhain, I should say. Anyway, I know you heard my brother Alan mention the third party, and you've heard, my points on that, Eberto. I have to push back on Michelle Obama, and I agree with the mayor of politics done right and all of that. I know it's risky, but you still may get Kamala Harris anyway. And there were a couple people on my California ballot because, I'm registered in California.
Brother Harry, I'm with you. We talked about that before. Let's talk tomorrow. I got to go to Sandy. Thank you, brother.
Okay.
We'll talk tomorrow. I promise you. Go ahead, Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto, and thanks to George from Beasley, Texas, and William and Carla from Kingwood, and also Dawn from Houston for donating this morning, getting us off our zero and on our way to what I hope will be a really good trick-or-treat day. Now look, folks, there's still room for you. If you've listened to the show over the last hour plus, then you understand that you have a voice on the airwaves in Houston. It's KPFT. We have a dialogue. We have a discussion. How valuable is that? I can't put a price on that. In fact, I can't tell you what to donate. I can suggest $5 or $10 a month, but it's completely up to you. Do you want to join us for the fajita dinner or the brunch or maybe the cruise with R&R? And oh, by the way, Tom Richards recorded another one of his little ditties you should be listening to or for during the course of the day when it plays. It's really funny. We got some creative people. We got some wonderful people that come into KPFT, sit behind the mic, provide the entertainment, the news, the views, hosting these discussions like Egberto. And KPFT is the vessel on which we sail. These voices wouldn't have a home. They wouldn't have a place in the media anywhere, I guarantee you. You can't walk into a Clear Channel station or some of the other network chains, the big businesses, and just get a spot, or even call and be on the air like we're doing here this morning. It doesn't work like that. We're community radio. KPFT is simply a resource for people within the community that have the talent, the ideas, the motivation, the drive, the commitment to come in. And Egberto's here for you 5 mornings a week. That is a commitment beyond anyone's imagination until you try it. All we're asking for is that we keep our place, KPFT, going strong. Now, 3 people have stepped up. 3 more of you in the next couple of minutes would be so welcome. Can we get 3 $10 a month pledges on a sustaining basis? And oh, by the way, William and Carla joined as a sustainer. So thank you for that. Your pledge is going to be matched with a $50 bill. Thank you so much for making that pledge. It's very meaningful. We're running out of time. We're running out of days on this fund drive. We got a long way to go. If you haven't donated, ooh, it's trick or treat time, folks. It's scary out there, potentially. Be even scarier without KPFT. Ooh, don't let that happen. Back to you, Egberto.
Thank you. Hey, wrap up for me, please, Neil. Tell them
Great.
about your Houston Democracy Project.
Houston Democracy Project, HoustonDemocracyProject.com. I've got a daily blog of local content, HoustonDemocracyProject.com, and I encourage you to come and see it. And I encourage you share it with others. And the election day is the 5th. Early voting ends tomorrow. The 1st, you can it goes till 9 o'clock, and you can vote at any of the 87 voting centers, your local ballot.
Love you all, callers, listeners, donors. Persuasive Barrier, thank you for your contribution. George, thank you. William and Carla, thank you. Dawn, thank you so kindly. Folks, we've had a great day, great show because you have made our show today. politicsandright.com/newsletter is where all the videos are. politicsandright.com/newsletter. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what?